Okay, let's go ahead and dig in as we're waiting for people to join in. Let's just talk about some fun little gospel tips. C first, D minor, C, walking up to the 4 chord. Now the 4 chord is the F chord in second inversion. So you see how these triads work. And if that feels good to you, just a simple da dun dun dun. Again, C, D minor, C over E. When I say C over E, I mean the bass has an E and the right hand has a triad. And then I go to C in second inversion. Now, let me show you a little fun thing that you can do from here. Things you hear this, what's called the diminished chord, right? It's a chord built on minor thirds. You hear this all the time. So in this case, we're doing F sharp diminished, and I'm voicing it like this: C, E flat, and A. And I had this nice sound, and then that would lead really nicely into a G. Oh, with a C in the right hand and a G in the left hand. Let's do that again. And then I'll go to A7 there, A, and I'll go. Now what am I doing at the end? I do D minor in second inversion. And for me, I like this sound, and I want you guys to practice this, to use your middle finger and slide from that D flat to D. Da, and then I go C over E. And then I have my F with my D minor in the right hand. And then I'm going to go G with the F chord. I'm going to go. Let's do that. Let's just spend a little time talking about that. What am I doing here? So if you have a 1 chord, C in second inversion, and then I have the 5 chord, which is G, right? C, D, E, F, G. And I go to the 5 chord, and I play a G chord, that's the 5 chord, but a really fun way to make it sound suspenseful, a suspended sound, is to add an F triad over the top of that G bass. Now, if you understand that, got it in the chat. We're just making a hovering sound with an F triad against a G. And this is for all of our members to understand what's going on here. A G chord in the left hand. So if I'm thinking in the key of C, and our 1 chord is C, how do you find the 5 chord? Go up 5 notes, and it's a G chord. A 5 wants to lead to home, right? A G chord, it could be da, G triad to C triad. But a cool thing you can do, especially in the gospel world, is add an F triad. And you're creating the suspense. I could do F in first inversion. In root position. I could do first inversion, second inversion, or I could do a mix of all of them. And then I will go to C. Why does an F triad work with a G? Well, it's actually quite simple if we break it down. The F note is the flat 7 of the G scale. So that gives us our G7 note, which sounds great, right? Everybody knows that's just a basic G7 chord. G, B, D, F, and then, so that covers that note. This note is like our G9, G, B, D, F, A, just like we do when we do a C9. We have C, E, G, and you hear us add that 9 chord as an extension. Remember, an extension, if you have the flat 7 in your chord, you can add those nice little melody notes on top that give the chords a lot of really nice color. But in this case, I'm going to add G7, and then I'm going to add the A on top. And so you have this sound. Okay, well that covers that note of the F triad. And the very top of the F triad is a C note. Now let me play that against this G7. And what this note, this is the note, is the magic note. Because that C wants to hang, but it kind of wants to resolve, but it's some nice tension to listen. So I could go. So I did suspense, resolve, and then C in second. But you don't really have to resolve the G for like a G sus forward would be what that would be called. Watch this. G, B, D, A, There's your ninth, and if you add that on top, that's like a fourth note of the G scale, and it hovers over there. So you have a G chord. Let's talk about one fun advanced concept that actually is not really hard to play. You'll hear me do this all the time. If I play a G chord, or G bass note, and I play this F chord in the right hand, you'll hear me go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's just a simple rhythm, but occasionally you'll hear me hit the D note with my index finger. When I do a lot of jazz tutorials and I'm playing out, I'll use this index finger all the time, and people don't even, it's almost like you almost don't hear it. But this index finger is something that we continue to work on no matter what kind of bass line or whatever we're doing, because it's just so nice. If I'm playing a C chord and I use my index finger on the 5th note, and it's usually on the 5th note, by the way, everyone, when you're playing things. If I played a G minor chord, G minor, not a really beautiful jazz chord, let's say, and I wanted to roll it up, I would do. So there I use the 5th note of that. So just know that when you put your index finger to help fill out the bass lines and things, especially within the octave, it's the 5th. That's the note. Ba-ba, ba-ba. So you just practice that. Okay, that was just a little side note tip in case anybody's wondering. All right, here's my C chord. I'm going to walk it up. D minor, C over E, F, F sharp, G with a C in the bass, okay, now that's the official loop that we did last week where we go ba-da-da-da, diminished. Okay, now what did I do there? That's a little bit different, but actually is actually really nice. Instead of going right to the A7 chord, which is that, A, G, C sharp, E, and A, I did this. I created a little suspension there as well. I suspended the A7, so I give, it kind of looks like a B minor, B, D, F sharp, A, and I go. What a beautiful chord that is. So that's an A13 chord, sus4. Ba, D minor, C over E, F, F sharp, and then I do a G with a C chord. Now walk it up. D minor, second inversion, C over E, D minor with a D in first inversion, F, A, D, and then I go suspended. That's right, A13, good job, Vicky. Yep, yeah. All right, now let's talk about chords for just a second. Playing this chord, I'm going to do it in G so that you guys can see it. But in this song that we just did, 813 sus4, it just has an airy feel, like we're not resolving, but it's so beautiful and so nice. This idea of the 4th note, so in this case, see, I'm going to go down and do it in G so that we're clear of what's happening. This G13 sus4 has the G, it has the flat 7, it has the 9th, because we had the flat 7, we're going to add the 9th, the 4th note, the 13th note, and the G on top. But it's hanging out there. It's just a beautiful sound, and I can go up and down with those. How beautiful is that? Isn't that just so nice? And that's just one chord transposed up and down. The beauty of that, though, is, I mean, there's so many beautiful things about it. I'll stay in G for a second. Is notice what's happening in my left hand is just the root and the flat 7. And then I can go up a whole step from G, which is my bottom note, and play an A minor 7 chord. Now, this is the shortcut way of doing it. I play the root, the flat 7, and then I do I go up a whole step from the root at the bottom, and I play an A minor 7. But I still want everybody to be able to talk about the chord itself and actually mathematically figure out how did we build that chord. So let's do this in the key of G just to make sure we're clear. So the shortcut is whatever key you're on, and let me pick a different key. Let me do it on C. If I were going to play this C13 sus4, I'm going to play a root chord, and instead of a major 7 from C, I'm going to play a flat 7. Now, an easy way to get to that, just so we're clear, is if you play a C octave and you go down a half step, that's your major 7. You go down another half step, that's your flat 7. So to get the root and flat 7 of any chord, that's any key that you start on, you just play an octave and then you go down a whole step. Okay, we're clear there. That should be easy. And then you say, all right, what's the second note of the C major scale? And you guys know that is D. And I'm going to build a D minor 7. Watch this. D, F, A. There's my triad, and there's my flat 7. All white notes there. C, B flat, and then D minor 7. D, F, A, C. Listen how beautiful that is. And I can go up a half step, back down. What a fun thing to practice. So Peter, Charity, Ted, Vicky, Bill, all of you, Hugh, J-Man, practice this one chord for me. C, B, and anybody else. Try this chord, C, B flat, and D minor right there. Try to take it up a half step, now C sharp. And the chord is C13 sus4. All right, now let's put it back in context with our loop of the day, one of the loops. Right here it is, right here. And then I resolve it. Now I'm going to walk it up. And it starts over. Notice that what we can do is you do a loop like that, and then you just pick one of our licks. And at first I did this one, which is our blues roadmap, starting on the 6th note from Blues Volume 1. Ba, da, 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 da. Or I did from Blues Volume 2, I did the second example, which is right. All right, we'll talk about that later. Singer-songwriters and singers that are in bands. Charity's in a band. Ted is in a band, in and out of bands. And we have Dave P, Dave W. I mean, the list goes on and on. But here's the thing. This chord right here, C, second inversion, and D minor, like we just did this gospel thing. But if I play the C in second inversion, G, C, E, and I change the bass note, listen how beautiful it is just to change the bass note in octaves. D minor, G, A minor, So notice that what I just did for a minute, I was sort of mixing styles on purpose for just a minute. I was playing the loop, but kind of just really thinking about if you're at your keyboard and maybe you're going to make up a song, or you're going to make up something, or you just need some quiet time. You play the C triad in second inversion, and then go right to F. To me, that's just such a beautiful chord. Nothing fancy about it, but it sounds amazing. If you go to A minor from there, it sounds incredible. And you can roll up. We talked about that before. You could roll up like a guitar player. And I go D minor. Listen to that. That's a D minor 11. F triad in different inversions. Okay, so look forward to that one and me writing that out. And your little tip for my singer-songwriters, I want you guys to remember that it is a really good thing to pick a key. Whatever key you're used to singing in, Charity, whatever key you're used to singing in your band, it could be E, it could be D, it could be G, whatever it is, start with the second inversion, major triad. In this case, we'll just stay in C for a second. And I go, da, whatever I'm thinking about, ba, and maybe play that F chord. Da, 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 dum, da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Wow, how easy is that? Ba, da, 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 da. Ba, da, 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 dum. Da, 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 dum. Da, 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 dum. Ba, da, 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 dum. And now I'm just rolling each note. Watch this. I like hitting the top note and the bottom note and then roll it up. Da, top note and bottom note. Then I hit the octave. That's a challenge for my singer-songwriters. Ba. See how I just fill in the notes? I hit the top and the bottom and then hit my thumb. And the last tip of that is I can take any pattern that I do and just repeat it up the octaves. Right? So now I can mix the styles together. I can do C. Now, what's fun about what I just did is I did some slides. Minor third to major third. Did you hear that? We can always do that. Listen to that. So I did F chord. There's my C chord. Because I'm in C major, I can use the sounds of C major, minor third to major third. Hey, let me show you guys something really important. I can't wait to do a review on this lesson. I want every single part of it for you guys to have access to. So in my mind, I'm thinking right now, I really want to write this down. Okay, the first thing is the gospel song. We did that. Gospel loop. I'm going to write that out in its entirety. We've also talked about triads and the importance of using your second inversion triads. And for my singer-songwriters, I'm going to write that singer-songwriters octaves with fifth. Okay, and then we started talking, as we make our transition to Ray Charles, I'm reminding you guys something that I want to touch on, and that is the slides. So we're in the key of C right now. As I'm in the key of C, you guys know that when we play our blues, our road maps, and even this kind of stuff, that often our licks either minor third to major third, and we can also do that to the sixth in the key of C. You can go up to the fifth note up to the sixth, so the slide up to the sixth. And the reason is it works really well. If I was playing a D minor chord, that sounds great going to the fifth of D minor. But also, in addition to the minor third to major third, you can go minor third down to D. So I'm giving you three slides I want everybody to work on. The first one is this. It comes right out of the Ray Charles material that we've been doing. Now, for Ray Charles, with this bass line, which we're going to do in just a minute, it starts on the fifth. Slides up to the fifth, right? Now, that's important too. So sliding up to the fifth, but also sliding down is also really important. And also you can use the same idea to do minor third to major third. So we've been doing like, so in addition to that, we have that. Okay, the reason I tell you that is I'm giving you options when it comes to whatever key you're in. You want to use the minor third to major third slide in whatever key you're in. And it works over the different chords. So watch this. If I do C and I go da da da, now watch this. If I'm doing F major, A minor, it's the fifth of A minor, sliding down, ninth of D minor, so I'm either going to give you this one, minor third to major third, F, minor third to major third, or you can go up to the minor to major third of F, or that gives you the major 7 of F, or you can go down, slide down from the minor third. So 3 different ideas. So all you're going to do is experiment with this, C, F, A minor, All right, very good. You know what to do there, and have fun with that. All right, the last thing we're going to do today is to talk about the Ray Charles blues that we've been working on.